Hi friends, this is Mrs. Canada with this week's Sabbath story. Now, do you know that we started a new month this week? It's the month of April. And you know what they say about April? April showers bring May flowers. So if you check the weather report, I know this week we've had a lot of rain coming, but it's a good thing because it's watering the earth and getting us ready for the beautiful flowers and trees that will start to bloom in spring. But I know sometimes when it's raining, it can get stormy, and storms can make us afraid. But I have a special story for you this week about Jesus in the storm. And the story's from the Bible, but you can also read about it in the storybook, My Bible Friends. And it's entitled, Jesus and the Storm. Now, Jesus had been preaching all day to the people, and he'd been preaching from the boat. And it was the end of the day, and he was tired. And he told his friends, let's go across to the other side of the lake and take a rest. So his disciples pushed the boat off of the shore, and they began to cross over to the other side of the lake. Now, when Jesus got into that boat, he was very tired. He had been working all day telling people stories and preaching to them and blessing the little children, and he needed a rest. And so he began to rest. If you go in the back of a boat, sometimes it's a very peaceful place to be. And he fell straight asleep. But while he was sleeping, a storm came up on the sea. And the thunder began to crash, and the lightning was flashing, and the water was stirred up into big, angry waves. The disciples began to get very afraid. And the man in the back of the boat couldn't steer any longer, and the disciples could not row anymore, and water began to fill in the boat, and the people were afraid. So they started to yell out, Jesus, Jesus, wake up! Don't you care that we are perishing? And Jesus stood up, and Jesus was not afraid, and he said to the storm, peace, be still. And all of a sudden, the thunder stopped, and the lightning stopped, and the water was calm. And Jesus said to his disciples, why were you afraid when I was in the boat with you? You know, Jesus says to us too, don't be afraid when the lightning flashes or the thunder crashes, because I am with you too in the storm. I will never leave you nor forsake you. In fact, he says that in the book of Hebrews. Hebrews chapter 13, verse 5 says, he himself has said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. And let's look now as I show you a little object lesson to help you remember this story about the storm. All right, let's take a look at our experiment. So I have here a little origami boat floating on the water, and the storm comes up and the waves are rolling, and it causes the boat to go underneath the water, and our boat gets all wet and waterlogged, and eventually it's going to sink. But let's try that again with Jesus in the boat too. So we put our origami boat on top of the water, and let's pretend that this glass represents Jesus. So if Jesus is with us in our boat, in our vessel, when the storms come, if Jesus is with us, even if the waves are crashing around us, we will be protected. And if you look at our little boat now, you can see how Jesus protects us in the storm.